The purpose of this demonstration video is to provide an overview of the email feature on onlineobservationtools.com, as well as how to go about printing observation records. Let's go ahead and talk about the email piece first of all. With email, once I've completed an observation form, of course with the website, regardless of whether you're using an iPad, a smartphone, or a laptop, prior to walking out of the teacher's classroom, I can go ahead and send that observation form. Now the way the site is generated for spam purposes is it sends an email to the user. So if I am, let's say I'm in the classroom right now in Jane Doe's classroom. I've got this particular observation form up, and I finished the observation, and I'd like to get this email. I'd like to get this particular observation tool to Mrs. Doe. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and click at the bottom left-hand corner here to email me a copy of this form and to save the form. So what's going to happen is it's going to go to my email account. And so I'll save the form and email, and it was sent to my email address. And then what I'll do with my email address, if I want to, I've got my email up here to the left. I'll go ahead and click, and then I'll see the form here. So here's the observation form that I just completed for Miss Jane Doe. And one of the nice things with this, the way the programmer has designed the site, is that it prints to a nice clean one-pager. So if I wanted to print this document right now, I would have this observation in a one-page format. And you will notice something that is on the bottom of this. You'll see a signature line for both the teacher and the observer. Those are not visible when I'm actually in the observation tool, but for a lot of divisions using the site, they're looking to provide some record of the post-observation conference. So if I've got a hard copy in a post-observation conference, the teacher signs off, the observer signs off. If you'd like to file that, or perhaps even scan it and upload it somewhere electronically to a folder, you certainly can do so that way. Let's get back to the email feature. So I've received this email, and now I can do one of two things. If I wanted to not send it to the teacher right away because I still want to work on it, when I've looked at it here and printed it out, I want to go back to the drawing board. So I would simply go back to the website here and edit that form again and then make changes. But if I'm pleased with the way the form looks, and this is the form, the final version I want to send the teacher, and if I know so before I walk out of the classroom even, I've sent that email as the site designated by checking that box. And so what will happen is I simply now forward this email. So I can forward the email to the teacher. And when I forward the email to the teacher, typically the way I use the site is I'll go ahead and set the time, perhaps that we want to meet, or put a couple of options out there to the teacher. So I might have a brief note about the observation and then conclude with a sentence trying to set up the post-observation conference. Now if I do that, more than likely there will be a limited amount of text and you'd still be able to print into a one-page document. However, if I'm looking to type several paragraphs, it will skew the printing just a bit, and more than likely the form, depending on the form, will print to 2 pages. So if you're looking to type several paragraphs of text, my recommendation would be to go ahead and forward the observation tool to the teacher, and then send a separate email typing a couple of paragraphs worth of text. So this teacher would receive that information first, followed up by the data collection tool. Some folks, if they would like to print, you could print, of course, to a PDF and have an electronic copy saved in another format, so saved as a PDF. Or obviously it will always save in the record of observations, so you would be able to access the information at a later time. Regarding printing an email, it's just that easy. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to use the Contact Us button on the website feature. But again, printing is very straightforward, as well as sending the emails, very straightforward. And if I wanted to, as mentioned in a separate video, if I wanted to take a look at the observation that had been completed by an assistant principal of mine, in this case Josh Fedlin, I could also mail that particular form to myself as well. So if I wanted to mail, for whatever reason, a form completed by a teacher in our school, if we're using it for peer observation purposes, or if I wanted to mail an observation tool that had been created by an assistant principal, in this case Josh Fedlin, I've got that information right there and I'm able to access the account. I want to talk about one more thing about printing, and this is an excellent form to look at. Let me go back here to this record of observations, and let's view the observation that was created by Josh Fedlin. This is a form that you'll see is a little bit different than the cognitive levels of questioning form, and I wanted to call a couple of things to your attention here. If for any reason that I typed, or Josh Fedlin typed in this case, let's say you see here 4 eyes typed here. If the observer types text that goes beyond a particular box, what will happen for printing purposes is that box will expand to make sure all that print is captured and that it is printed with the email so that it is visible. You'll see here I'm now actually in the observation form again. If I wanted to drag this information around in order to capture everything, I could go ahead and do so by looking at this bottom right box here and dragging. But you'll see here that there's some information that was typed that was not necessarily able to be viewed all in one line. And really the purpose of this particular form is not to write a whole bunch of information here under teacher behavior, but what I wanted to call to your attention for this demonstration video for printing purposes is you'll notice that when I go back to the form that was emailed, you'll see all of the text does appear. So you'll see here that Josh Fedlin typed in a little bit more information for activity 2, but all of that information did copy over to the printed version and has been captured for record purposes. This does conclude this demonstration video on email and printing. Again, if you have questions about either, don't hesitate to use the Contact Us button and feature on the website. Thank you.